Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 15th September today, and in this video we are going to discuss these important articles which are on this slide, which are actually taken from the newspaper. Every day we discuss here this video, and let me introduce this initiative to you guys first. In this video, we discuss three types of questions. The first set of questions is from the current affairs itself. We take up the most important articles from the newspaper. We break them down into the simplest language possible and derive some prelims based questions from them so that you get the idea how the questions do come, how the questions can be framed from the current affairs. And another set of questions which we discuss here are from the static portion. If you had followed me, you would definitely know that we had started discussing some static topics here, and we had started it with the Indian polity. And the book which we are using for that is the Lakshmikant. So today we are going to end this important chapter in the Indian polity, that is preamble to the Constitution of India, and derive some questions on this topic. At the end of our discussion, we will discuss some previous year questions so that it will give the idea how the questions do actually come in the exam and what can be the different ways and methods by which you can solve those questions and how to implement that knowledge in the next upcoming exams. So with this, let us start our discussion. Before we start, I would like to request you guys, please note these questions somewhere. Have a record of these questions. It is very much important for you, when your exams would be near. You would want to revise your current affairs, and it would be very much hectic for you because you have to look at the different materials that time. So if you will have the record of these questions, you just have to revise these questions. It will definitely connect you with the current affairs. It will help you revise your current affairs, as well as it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. So please have these questions somewhere noted. Keep them with you. It will be very much helpful for you. With this, let us look at the topics which we have to discuss today, from which we have to derive the questions. The first topic, which was in the news, it is about the 75th anniversary of Hindi as an official state language. In this anniversary, the Home Minister Amit Shah, he urged Indian parents that they should use the Hindi as the medium to talk with their children, so that Hindi would be promoted. And also, he mentioned that he has replaced the English in the Home Ministry department in all the documents which are involved with the Home Ministry. So he said that he has replaced those documents. The language has been replaced to the Hindi with the Devanagari, this script. So this is in nutshell about this topic. This is the headline of the topic. So here there are concerns with this topic itself. If the top ministry says such thing, if they are promoting any such language, so in our country we are very diverse. Different languages are spoken by different people, and different states, especially the states in the south, they don't even know the Hindi. So they feel like they are being ignored if the center goes for the promotion of Hindi. So because of that, there has been a hue and cry about this statement about the promotion of Hindi as the medium of language. They think that their language has been overshadowed. Their language has not been promoted well. They feel that their language may end up, if it is not been promoted well, they feel that their language would come under the constraint. So because of that, they are there are different criticism regarding this statement of the Home Ministry, that they had totally changed the language in the documents related to the Home Ministry. But here the ministry gives its opinion also. We have to look at both the sides of the argument. The ministry says that we are overburdened with the colonial legacy. We are following the colonial legacy so much that we had underestimated our own languages. We had understood one thing, that knowing English is the peak of the intelligence, and we had ignored our language system. We had ignored everything. So to revive to our original India, to revive to the history, to revive the history of India, we need to go back to our languages. So that is the reason they are promoting Hindi, and they believe that Hindi is one of the language which is known to the most of the people in our country. So that is the reason, first to overcome the colonial legacy and to promote the regional languages. And they also believe that it is not only they are promoting Hindi, there are different initiatives led by the central government by which different languages are promoted. So in our constitution itself, we have different articles related to the promotion of different languages. For example, we have article 343. It deals with the official language of the union. It shall be Hindi in the Devanagari script. And in article 343 2, there is the exception for the English. Then also in article 344, it is the official language commission can be constituted by the president of India. Then we have article 345. It talks about the legislature of states will determine which language would be used for the official purposes. Then we have article 346. It states what should be the medium of the language when two states communicate. For example, when center communicates with the states, the medium should be Hindi. And if center would communicate with the non-Hindi speaking state, then the medium would be definitely English. So similarly, even our constitution, it protects every language. We have eighth schedule also, which protects 22 languages in our constitution. So our constitution itself protects every regional as well as the classical languages. So we don't have to, it is said that states should not worry that much that the center is trying to over promote the Hindi. What center is trying to do is to overcome the legacy of the colonial history. So this is in nutshell about this article. I hope you had understood it. I hope you had already read the newspaper. I believe that if you had not read the newspaper, then this much idea is enough for you to get the context of the questions which we have to discuss here. Then the another article, it was about the Maldives. About Maldives, we should know that historically the relationship between India and Maldives has been very good, but unfortunately from last few decades the relationship has worsened because of the anti-India stands there, and also pre last year when the new president was elected there, Mr. Moizu. He came to the power because of the one slogan out India campaign. Because of that, he came to the power. So recently, the relationship between India and Maldives had not been that great. You know what is the reason for that? Because Maldives is moving much closer to the China. About Maldives, we should know about its economic condition. Maldives economy is majorly dependent on the tourism and fishery. So it is the island country where even the finding fresh water there is very much uh, practically impossible. So their economy depends upon the tourism and fishery only. So after they had this little, after our relations were not that good in from the last 1 year, their economy has been hit really hard because in our country also we started the campaign of boycott Maldives for tourism. So it opened windows for the Maldives. In a way, it reduced the tourists from India. It affected the Maldives, but at the another end, it opened windows for the Chinese tourism also. So even though the relation with India were not that good, their relationship with China was very well. The tourism from the China did increase in Maldives, but at the same time, that much economy which they generate through tourism and fishery, that is not enough for them be to overcome all the desires which the people there they need to overcome all the needs of their people. So they depend upon the borrowings in which the India also helps them in different ways. For example, we have started standby credit facility which was set up by India through RBI. We grant them huge amount of loans, and we are very much lenient in taking the interest back from the Maldives also. So recently we had seen also, now Maldives is trying to overcome the differences which rose in the last year. We saw that during the during when PM Modi was elected third time. During his oath ceremony, he was also invited. He was one of the guests. He was invited in our country, and he visited our country. And it is believed that Maldives is going to visit our country again. The Maldivian president is going to visit our country again for the second time as a bilateral visit. So they are trying to overcome this, these issues which arose from the last 1 year, because they had understood the importance of India for them, how India is important for them, how India contributes to their economy. So this was little article about the Maldives. Now coming to the another article, it was about the US calls upon countries to ban Russian media. You know, there is a channel which is known by news channel which is known by the Russian Times, and it is, according to the Western media, it is spreading the false news, it is propagating its ideas. It is playing a psychological warfare. So according to the, US has banned it, and US is urging the all the countries around the world that they should also ban it. Similarly, they had urged India to ban it, but the external affairs ministry said that it is not our concern, we are going to continue it because it does not deal with our interests. So here a question which may raise in our mind, it shows a point which may rise in our mind, that it shows the hypocrisy of the West, how they deal with such situations. When anti-India stands, anti-India slogans are given there, they support it, they say that it is the freedom of expression. But when anything goes back to them, when anything is against them, then they start to curb it and force other countries to ban that stuff. So this was a little bit about this article. After that, there was another article, it is about the prisoners of war. In it, Russia and Ukraine, they had swapped 206 prisoners of war, and this deal was brokered by UAE, United Arab Emirates. Now here we will discuss a question with respect to the prisoners of war, and which convention deals with it. We will discuss that in the questions. After that, there was a small article about the Astamudi Lake in Kerala. Why it was in news? Because the Central Pollution Control Board, they had found that at four different sites in this lake, those sites are not even good for the bathing. So there is huge pollution in this lake. It was about that, and we will discuss some question with respect to this lake also in the next slide. After that, there was another article. It talked about the post-glacial ecosystem. Right now, as we know, the globe is warming at the very high temperature, at very high speed, and it leads to the melting of the glaciers. And we know how bad its impact could be. But at the same time, this post-glacial ecosystem could be very much helpful too, because there would be the new ecosystem will develop there. There would be new plantation will go. There it will, once the glaciers will melt, the land would be very much barren, and then evolution will start there, and all this stuff will again come to the life, because there would be growth of plants and vegetation, and it will definitely help the world in a better way. It has some good impacts also in this way. After that, there was another article. It talks about the monkeypox, as it is one of the concern in the world right now. And with this, there is an how it can be curbed right now. The vaccine for the smallpox is used to curb it, and which is the namely as Ankara Bavarian Nordic, which is used to curb smallpox, and it is said that it can also curb the monkeypox. And at the end of this, and at the end, there was another article, very small article in the news, which talks about the ground level ozone. You know how impactful it is to the human health, how impactful it is to the ecology, how impactful it is to the environment. How it is created by the help of the release of nitrogen oxide from the vehicles and volatile organic components. And how does the photo how does the sunlight help in the creation of ozone at the ground level. So this was about this article. With this, we will solve a question and get the broader concept about it. And at the end, we will discuss the preamble to the constitution. We will conclude it today, and finally we will derive some previous year questions. So this was about what was in the news. I hope you had understood it, and I hope you understand this this initiative. The purpose is not to discuss the newspaper in detail here. Please do understand it. It is not the purpose. The purpose is to solve the questions with respect to the current affairs. So if you don't get these news articles in detailed manner here, so please don't worry. Our purpose is not to discuss them in a detailed manner. Our point of this discussion is to discuss the questions, to derive the questions from these articles. Why we give these articles here? So that you will get the context behind the questions which we will discuss here. Now by this, let's solve the questions one by one. Here the first question, it is about the article 343. It says article 343 of the Indian Constitution pertains to which of the following aspects? So what do you think? What is the correct answer for this? Is it official languages of the Union? Is it related to this state list of the subjects? Is it related to the direct principles of state policy? Totally incorrect. Is it related to the fundamental rights? No. It is definitely related to the official language of the Union. And according to Article 343(1), the official language of the Union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. And according to Article 343, Clause 2, for the English there is exception is given for the English. So for this question, the correct answer is option A. Now coming to the another question here, it talks about Article 346 of the Indian Constitution. It deals with which of the following aspects? First, official language of the state. B, language is used in the Supreme Court. 3, language used in the communication between the Union and the states. Fourth, language of the proceedings of the state legislative assemblies. So with respect to the Article 346, it deals with the language used in the communication between the Union and the states. When the Union and the states communicate, they usually communicate in Hindi. But if the state is non-Hindi speaking, then they will communicate in English. And also for states to communicate with each other, they would communicate in Hindi, and same principle applies when they communicate with the non-Hindi speaking state. For them, they will communicate in English. So for this question, for question number 2, which about Article 346, the correct answer is option C. Now with this, let's move to another question. It talks about Article 348(1) of the Indian Constitution pertains to which of the following aspects? First, official language of the Union government. B, language is used for the proceedings of the Supreme Court and High Court. C, language is used for the communication between states. D, language of the state legislative assemblies. For this question, the correct option is option B, which is language is used for the proceedings of the Supreme Court and the High Court. And for them, the language which has been used is the English. And also, under Article 348, subclause 2, it is given that governors can differ, change the languages for their particular high courts by consulting the president. They can choose different languages for their particular state. For example, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar has chosen Hindi in their particular high courts. So with respect to this article 348(1), the correct option is option B, language is used for the proceedings of the Supreme Court and the high courts. So with this, I hope you had understood this topic in detail. You had got the context behind this discussion, and you had understood the questions here. Now with this, let's move to the another question. It says, which of the following bilateral military exercise is conducted between India and the Maldives? We discussed about Maldives, the economic conditions right now there. They are dependent on India. So with respect to Maldives, we do conduct many military exercises. So here, what is the correct option? Is it exercise Malabar? No. Is it exercise Milan? No. Is it exercise Equivariant? 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option C. With this, let's move to the another question. It says, the treatment and protection of prisoners of war are primarily governed by which of the following conventions? We discussed about the swapping of prisoners of war between Russia and Ukraine. So about this treatment and protection of prisoners of war are primarily governed by which of the following convention? Is it first Geneva Convention, second Geneva Convention, third, or fourth? It is definitely the third Geneva Convention, because the third Geneva Convention, officially known as the Geneva Convention, relative to the treatment of prisoners of war. specially addresses the treatment, rights and protections afforded to prisoners of war. It sets out comprehensive guidelines to ensure humane treatment of prisoners captured during armed conflict. So with respect to this question, the correct option is option C. With this, let's move to the another question. It says Ashtamudi Lake, recently seen in news, is located in which state? We discussed it with respect to the pollution control board in India, how they found 4 spots were not even good for the bathing. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option D, which is Kerala. So this Ashtamudi Lake is located in Kerala. With this, let's move to the another question. It says the Ankara Bevarin Nodec, a vaccine recently seen in news, is used for curbing which of the following diseases? We discussed it in our discussion. Is it used to cure malaria? No. Dengue? No. COVID-19? No. Definitely smallpox. It is the vaccine for the smallpox. So we should know such questions may be asked in your prelims exam. With this, let's move to the last question of today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. It says ground level ozone, a significant air pollutant, primarily impacts which of the following? Here you have to look at the question very carefully. It may have different impacts, but here the primary impact is on the respiratory health and crop yields. So for this question, the correct option is option A. Option B, stratosphere, ozone layer and UV radiation? No. 3, global temperatures and sea level. It may impact global temperature but least impact on sea level. So option C is somehow correct but not that correct. Option D, ozone depletion and greenhouse gas emission. Nothing to do with the ozone depletion but may lead to the greenhouse gas emissions. So option D is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option A, which is respiratory health and crop yields. So with this, I hope you had understood today's discussion with the current affairs. You had understood these questions. I hope you would note them down somewhere on your notebook, and these will definitely help you in revising your current affairs. With this, let's move to our today's static topic, which is preamble to the Constitution of India. Let's put some small light on that and complete this topic today. Here, as we have to discuss the preamble to the Constitution of India, first have a look at the wordings of the preamble. It says, "We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, which is social, economic, and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of states and of opportunity, fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation." In our constitution, in our constituent assembly, this 26th day of the November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. So this is what are the wordings of the constitution, what are the wordings of the preamble itself. Now, as we have to understand these wordings, we had reached sovereignty, we had discussed socialist, we discussed about secular. The term secular, it was to added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. And however, as the Supreme Court said in 1974, although the word secular state were not expressly mentioned in the Constitution, there can be no doubt that the Constitution makers wanted to establish such a state, and accordingly Article 25 to 28 have been included in the Constitution. With respect to this term secular, the Supreme Court said, even though it was not earlier mentioned in the Constitution, with respect to the having this word secular in the preamble, the court said, the Supreme Court said, even though earlier it was not mentioned explicitly in the Constitution, but we have articles from 25 to 28 which we will discuss in the fundamental rights, that they definitely showed that our country, it does believe in the principle of the secular, in the principle of secularity, in the principle of secularism. So there is no doubt in including this secular word in the preamble itself. The Indian Constitution embodies the positive concept of secularism, as we had earlier discussed it too. All religions in our country, irrespective of their strength, have the same status and support from the state. Then the another word, it is about the democratic. About democratic, what we understand from it. A democratic polity, as stipulated in the preamble, is based on the doctrine of popular sovereignty, that is possession of supreme power by the people. Supreme power is by the people, it is for the people, it is of the people. It is what the constitution here believes in. And about the democracy of our country, we are the independent democracy. We elect our leaders through the elections. There are regular elections with respect to it. And then we are a republic also. We have the head of the state is the elected one. We are, unlike in Britain, where the head of the state is the monarch who gets his power from the hereditary. Here in our country, we elect our head. So we are republic, democratic country. So then we believe in justice. The term justice in the preamble embraces three distinct forms, for example, social, economic, and political, secured through various provisions of fundamental rights and directive principles. We believe in liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. We believe in equality of states and opportunity. We have articles, we have fundamental rights. Fundamental rights with respect to the right to equality, we have Article 14, Article 15, Article 16, which deal with the equality. Article 17. Then we believe in fraternity, the brotherhood of the whole nation. We have the single citizenship with respect, which represents the fraternity of the country. We have fundamental duties, which shows what every citizen has to provide to the nation. So we have all these things in our constitution, which show, which deliver what is expressed in the preamble itself. So this was in a nutshell about the preamble of the constitution. I hope you had understood it. Now let's solve a last question with respect to the preamble. After that, we will discuss some few cases with respect to the preamble, whether it is the part of the constitution or not. Then finally we will move to the another topic. With this, let's solve this question with respect to the very simple forward question. It says, which of the following objective is not explicitly mentioned in the preamble of the constitution? Justice, social, economic, and political, we saw it. It is definitely mentioned. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, it is mentioned. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation, mentioned. Secularism, ensuring the separation of religion from state affairs. It is not explicitly mentioned, it was introduced and not defined that well. So for this question, the correct option is option D, as secularism is not explicitly mentioned in the preamble to the Constitution of India. With this, I hope we had understood the static topic too. We solved this question with respect to the preamble. We had solved at least 5 to 6 questions from last 1 week. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, which is with respect to the previous year questions. Here the first question, it deals with which of the following first mooted the idea of the Constituent Assembly to frame a constitution for India? Is it Swaraj Party in 1934? Is it Congress Party in 1936? Is it Muslim League in 1942? Is it All Parties Conference in 1946? It is definitely Swaraj Party in 1934. So for this question, the correct option is option A. With this, let's move to the last question of today's discussion. It says, who among the following leaders did not believe in the drain theory of Dadabhai Naoroji? So who among the following leaders did not believe the theory of drain theory of Dadabhai Naoroji? Is it B.G. Tilak? No. Is it R.C. Dutt? No. Is it M.G. Ranade? No. Is it Sir Syed Ahmad Khan? 100% correct. So for this question, the correct option is option D. With this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends. I hope you had benefited in some way by this video. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring and what are the changes we should bring in our teaching style. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.